A 2,000-year-old book contains what might be the most potent psychological instruction ever written. We're going to dissect how a single verse, often dismissed as mystical metaphor, describes the precise mechanism of reality creation that modern neuroscience is only now beginning to map. This mechanism is running your life right now. The only question is whether you are using it intentionally or it is using you by default. The instruction is found in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 11, verse 24. It says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." The critical part is the tense. It commands you to generate the feeling of already having the thing you desire, to feel the relief of the debt being paid, to feel the joy of the relationship restored. The instruction is to embody the end result, neurologically, before there is any external evidence for it. This isn't about hope. Hope is a beggar's prayer admitting you lack something. This is about assumption, the assumption of the state of the wish fulfilled. For centuries, this was read as a statement of faith, but researchers studying the brain have found it something else entirely. It's a technical manual. The brain has a fundamental operating principle. It cannot tell the difference between a real experience and an experience that is vividly imagined. When you mentally rehearse a piano concerto, the motor cortex fires in the exact same sequence as if your fingers were actually touching the keys. Your brain grows the same neural circuits. Elite athletes know this. They spend hours visualizing the perfect race, the perfect shot, the perfect vault. They are building the neural architecture of success before the competition even begins. Their body is simply following a pre-recorded neurological script on game day. The brain has already lived the victory. But what happens when we apply this to something more abstract than a tennis serve? What happens when we apply it to our state of being? This is where things get interesting. Your brain is a prediction machine. It constantly generates a model of reality based on your past experiences and your current beliefs. This model then filters your perception. Your brain actively looks for evidence to confirm what it already believes to be true. It's called predictive processing. Think of it like a search engine. If your dominant belief is "I am unlucky," your brain's search engine is constantly running that query. It will selectively highlight every red light, every missed opportunity, every piece of bad news. It filters out the contrary evidence. It has to. The world bombards you with billions of bits of information every second. Your brain must choose what to notice, and it chooses based on the model it's running. This is why two people can experience the same event and remember it completely differently. They are living in two different internally generated realities. One person's brain is running the world is hostile program, while the other runs the world is full of opportunity. So how do you change the program? You have to feed it a new target, a new prediction. When you follow the instruction to believe that you have received, you are manually inputting a new endpoint into your brain's predictive model. You are forcing it to generate the feeling, the entire neurochemical signature of a reality that has not yet occurred. This creates a state of cognitive dissonance, a conflict. The brain holds a clear, vivid, emotionally charged internal state of "I have it," while the senses are reporting back, "No, you don't." The brain hates this conflict. It's a state of neurological incoherence, and it will do anything to resolve it. The brain has only two options to close this gap. It can either discard the internal vision to match the external reality, or it can start changing your perception and behavior to make the external reality match the internal vision. Which path it takes depends on one thing: the emotional intensity and frequency of the new model. This is why just thinking positive thoughts rarely works. A fleeting thought of being wealthy has no energetic signature. It doesn't challenge the deeply ingrained emotionally charged belief of "I am lacking." The brain dismisses it as noise. But generating the feeling of security, the feeling of abundance, the feeling of gratitude for something you don't yet have, that has power. Feeling is the language the brain understands. A sustained feeling, practiced daily, is a command. Your brain begins to take the new model seriously. It starts to ask new questions. Instead of seeing a problem and predicting failure, it holds the model of "I am resourceful" and starts searching for solutions. It notices conversations it would have previously ignored. It generates ideas it would have previously dismissed. It alters your micro-behaviors, the way you walk, your tone of voice, your willingness to take a small risk. You begin to act like the person who already has what you desire. This is the critical step. Your new state of being dictates your new actions, and your new actions create your new reality. The change comes from the inside out. Skeptics argue this is just the placebo effect on a grander scale. They are right, but they misunderstand what the placebo effect actually is. We treat it like a statistical anomaly to be controlled for in drug trials. It's the ghost in the machine. In reality, it is the most direct evidence we have that a change in belief, a change in internal state, can produce measurable physiological changes in the body. People given sugar pills have regrown cartilage, shrunk tumors, and produced the same pain-killing endorphins as morphine. Their body responded to a belief, a conviction. The body became the pharmacy because the brain was given a new set of instructions, a new blueprint for health. The instruction to believe you have received is simply the willed conscious deployment of the placebo mechanism. You are giving yourself the pill. The pill is a new story about who you are. The active ingredient is your own belief. And what happens when this mechanism scales beyond your own body? This is where we leave the comfortable territory of neuroscience and enter the strange world of consciousness research. The double-slit experiment is the most famous and unsettling experiment in physics. It shows that the fundamental particles of reality, like electrons, behave as waves of possibility when unobserved. But the moment they are measured, the moment consciousness interacts with them, they collapse into a single definite particle in a single location. The act of observation seems to influence what becomes real. Many physicists dislike this interpretation. They've tried for decades to explain it away. But the result holds. At the quantum level, the universe seems to wait for a decision, for a collapse of probability into actuality. Your mind, through the act of focused attention and assumption, is a collapsing function. By choosing a state and living in it emotionally, you are selecting one possibility out of an infinite field and giving it your attention, your energy. You are telling the universe this one. Consider the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. It's a bundle of nerves at the base of your brainstem, and its job is to filter all incoming sensory data. It's the gatekeeper of your conscious awareness. Have you ever decided to buy a certain model of car, and suddenly you start seeing it everywhere? The cars were always there. Your RAS just started flagging them as relevant. It was given a new filtering instruction. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are giving your RAS a new primary target. It starts to filter your reality through that lens. It will highlight the people, the opportunities, the resources that are coherent with your new state of being. These things were always present in your field of potential. You just lack the neurological filter to perceive them. It appears as magic, serendipity, luck. But it is a mechanical process. You change the filter, so the world you see changes. This process has a shadow side. The mechanism is neutral. It works just as powerfully with negative assumptions as it does with positive ones. If you constantly live in a state of anxiety and fear, you are praying for what you don't want. You are instructing your brain to find evidence of threat. You are programming your RAS to highlight everything that could go wrong. Your body is flooded with stress hormones. Your perception narrows. Your behavior becomes defensive and reactive. You are, in effect, using this creative power to generate and sustain a reality of suffering. You are believing you have received hardship, and so it becomes yours. Most people spend their entire lives in this state of negative creation, completely unaware they are the cause. They believe they are victims of circumstance, while their own consciousness is the engine of their misfortune. Every worry is a prayer for chaos. Every complaint is an affirmation of lack. Imagine your inner world as a workshop. In this workshop, you are constantly building a model of the person you believe yourself to be. Every thought, every feeling, every daydream is a tool you use to shape this model. The outside world then acts as a mirror, reflecting back to you the finished product. If you build a model of someone who is unworthy and overlooked, the world will faithfully reflect that back to you in the form of missed promotions and broken relationships. If you try to change the world without first changing the model in the workshop, you are just polishing a mirror that is reflecting an image you despise. The work is inside. The instruction for Mark is to go into the workshop, ignore the current reflection in the mirror, and build a new model. Build it with such detail and passion that it feels more real than the world outside. Dwell in that new model. Live there. Feel from there. And then watch as the mirror of reality has no choice but to start reflecting the new you. Critics often frame this as a form of spiritual bypassing, a way to avoid taking action in the real world. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of the process. Generating the inner state is the most potent action you can take. It's the action that precedes all other effective action. Action from a state of lack and desperation produces frantic, ineffective results. You are pushing against reality. Action from a state of gratitude and wholeness, the state of already having received, is inspired. It is fluid. It feels less like effort and more like allowing. You aren't trying to get something. You are simply acting in alignment with the person you have already become on the inside. The right doors open with a gentle push, because you are no longer trying to kick down doors that were never meant for you. You're walking a path that is now aligned with your internal blueprint. So, how is this practiced? It begins with quieting the external world, closing your eyes, and asking yourself, how would I feel if my desire were a present fact? Then, you generate that feeling in your body. You search for it. You find the subtle sensation of relief, the warmth of joy, the calm of security. You wear this feeling like a garment. You walk around your house in it. You feel the kitchen counter beneath your hands as the person who has already succeeded. You look in the mirror and see the person whose prayers have been answered. You do this until the new state feels more familiar than your old anxieties. You are creating a neurological habit. The point is to make the feeling of your ideal the default setting your brain returns to. This is why the instruction uses the word believe. The original Greek word is pistio. It has a deeper meaning than just intellectual assent. It means to trust in, to rely upon, to be persuaded of. You are not trying to trick yourself. You are building a case. You are persuading yourself, through repeated emotional immersion, that this new reality is the dominant one. You are conditioning your body and mind to accept a new truth. At some point, the scales tip. The new state becomes more natural than the old one. The conflict resolves. And that is when the mirror begins to shift. This isn't about denying reality. It's about choosing which reality you feed with your attention. The external world is the manifestation of old beliefs, old assumptions. The world of your imagination is the seed of the new. The instruction is to withdraw your energy from the world of effect and place it in the world of cause. The cause is your own consciousness, your own state of being. The 2,000-year-old text wasn't offering a pleasant metaphor. It was giving a direct command for a neuropsychological process. It was describing the nature of your own creative power, a power that shapes your perception, drives your behavior, and ultimately builds the very cage or kingdom you inhabit. The mechanism is always on. The ballot box is always open. Every feeling you entertain is a